G'day folks, I am in Hawthorne, Florida today. A small town on the outskirts of Gainesville, Florida. The town nowadays it's pretty quiet. It's mostly bypassed by two nearby highways, as you can see there, 301 and I believe the other one is 26 no, 20, that's right. Anyway, so that point aside, we'll have a look around town and find the points of interest. Naturally, I waited until about 2:30 to begin today's ride because I'm pretty tapped out from yesterday's ride. That was quite a marathon affair. So today is about 60 miles thereabouts. Hopefully I'll get it knocked out in time for nightfall, etc. There are 2 or 3 towns I'll be passing through. So let's start off. There you go. There's the water tower, City of Hawthorne. And if you ever ride through here, there's a very nice rail trail that goes from Hawthorne to Gainesville. Once upon a time it was a railway line and this was a busy little railway town, but not so much now. Anyway, let's continue the tour of Hawthorne. All we need to know about Hawthorne is on this placard right there, and it's continued on the reverse side. I've mentioned this before, I'm not a religious bloke, but you have to admire some of the old church buildings. Here's the First Baptist Children's Church. I have no idea when it was built, but it doesn't look new, that's for sure. Then there's a couple of older historic looking homes than the main street. On this side of the road we have the Moore Hotel, which was built in 1883. I'll show the placard momentarily, but and there's a look at the hotel itself. Nowadays they are the Hawthorne Apartments. Beautiful old building. There be the Hawthorne Community Centre and Lodge number 103 for the, oh my god, I've forgotten their name. I'll overlay that later on. And here's the library, the Alachua County Library District, Hawthorne branch. A couple of beautiful older historic homes near the downtown. There is one that's been reconstituted as a thrift shop for the United Methodist Women. Notice the gorgeous live oaks. And here we have another beautiful old church. The First United Methodist Church of Hawthorne. On the left hand side we have Hawthorne City Hall, zip code 32640. And on the right some small businesses. And this is one of those towns that still has an Ace Hardware. These little operations tend to find themselves in small towns. They're not like a big box hardware store that are so prolific in the United States these days. And they also have seminal feed for your chooks and your cows and stuff like that. That's an interesting building. Here's one of those tricky diagonal railway tracks. Incidentally, the railway does run through here. I believe it's operated by CSX or I think it's Florida East Coast Railway. I always get the name wrong, but they haul freight through here regularly. There be the site map for the Hawthorne State Trail. And this is the trailhead, the Hawthorne end of things. Pardon the bird poo on the sign. Here's the Historic Museum of Hawthorne, formerly a church I understand. Historical Museum and Cultural Centre. And here is part of the Hawthorne Fire Department. The lads and ladies practice there burning stuff. And this fire station was rebuilt a few years ago, if my memory serves me correctly. It was pretty knackered for some time. the railway track in that direction heads out to a little town called Edgar, which I might be riding near a little bit later on. There's a foundry of some kind from memory at that neck of the woods. Okay, that's most of Hawthorne covered, so it's time to get riding. I'm heading briefly on 301 to get onto my route, and there is 20 that basically bypasses over Hawthorne. We're on to the first dirty road of many, and it's pretty bloody hot today. It's about 92 Fahrenheit, so it's about 31, 32 Celsius. That doesn't sound like much, but the humidity is what is the killer. So there is some good shade along some of this route. This is a route I've ridden before, and there's definitely a dodgy section coming up pretty soon, so I might have to circumvent that. That's a pretty cool front yard, nothing but nature. I have to love that. At some point in time when I hang it up from my regular gig, I need to be living somewhere secluded. How about this? Is this magnificent or what? Okay, there's a very dodgy section of road coming up. Last time I tried to ride it was pretty horrible, so we'll see. So this section might actually be better today. We'll see, but there was a pretty impassable swamp area, and when I rode with my mates last time, we all had to hike a pike and got our bloody feet wet. It was fun and games. So I'll give you a professional tip here. As a wannabe explorer, you really shouldn't be riding around with a camera and riding off-handed on the bike. All right, there's some sandy stuff coming up. Here we go. Oh yeah, made it through one hand. See the things I do for you folks? Bloody riding through middle of nowhere. Whoa. I guess I am getting some good skills. The best part is there's no cars around here. Oh, got my feet wet. Oh, got the timing of the pedal stroke wrong. You have to wonder how old are some of these live oak trees, and what have they seen in their lifetime? I've mentioned this before a few times on the channel. I never ride anybody else's route. I like to plan my own routes. I love getting lost and figuring out a solution. I just find the whole vetted route thing so boring. And you know, a lot of people have to upload the Strava, blah blah blah, which I don't do. It's like no interest. But well, because you know, sometimes I trespass, but that's another story. But yeah, I'm all about exploring, and I think a lot of people miss the point of that. Of this sort of riding. It's about exploring and getting lost and having fun. How beautiful is this? Oh yeah, this is why I ride these sorts of roads. Peaceful serenity, no cars, maybe the odd local once in a while, but just reveling in Mother Nature. And no headphones. You want to hear the noise of the road, the rumble of the terrain beneath your tyres. Here are the DT wheels, and I'm riding some heavy corrugations right now, or Washbird if you prefer. Another reason I'm riding bigger tyres today, there's a definite sandpit section coming up. It hasn't rained for a while, so I might be hoofing it. Definitely a lovely day for a sleep in the shade, or some nibbling on the grass. What are you two up to? Hello. Now this is a pretty special private little area of land. This is not a route for 35 or 38mm tyres, unless you've got some good skills. One thing that stinks about riding sandy roads, and they're never a lot of fun to begin with, even with big tyres, is when you're going slow, bogging down, you become prime target for deer fly. Those little mongrels are only usurped by horseflies, except the deer fly love humanoids, and I just got bitten to hell by about 4 of them. Bastards. Here you go, this is a nice sandy road here. Okay, this road goes from dodgy to dodgier. However, this sector looks to be harder packed with a lot of grass, so it's not driven that much. So this should actually bode well. I'll tell you the way I'm going though, I'm glowing with perspiration. I might have to take an earlier stop to rehydrate. This section is somewhat, mostly rideable, but I do recall it being a really bad section. I've only had to unclip one time. I haven't actually walked yet. It's going to happen for sure. So you'll get to see the indignity, the shame of me walking. Okay, I'm in the wrong gear. Oh. This is some deep stuff right here. Sorry about the camera shakes. This is the unrideable section I was talking about a moment ago. Check out that bloody wall right there. Pure sandpit, unrideable. And I'm being bitten to hell by bloody flies. Look at these buggers. Got one dead bastard. Another one. They're easy to kill though. Mongrel. This is basically a full-on ATV trail, and now is not the time to be riding this thing. Holy moly. Whew. Great cross training though. Look at this, sweating profusely. Whew. Builds a lot of character. That stretch behind was difficult, and this stretch ahead is, yeah, about to get difficult. So I'm going to try and take that side piece of dirt. If I don't fall, oh yeah, I'm going to fall over. This is moderately more successful. I remember this road being really bad last time I rode it, except I had some of my crew with me. They had to walk as well. I don't think they were terribly happy. Well, that was the definition of bloody brutality. I think I walked for about 40 minutes then, blew some serious gas. Oh yeah, yeah. But I think that's the worst of it, hopefully. The biggest pain in the ass was being bitten to hell by deer fly as I was struggling in the sand. Hello, I spotted a van ahead of me. It's the first person or entity I've seen, apart from deer fly, for well over an hour and a half. I'm back onto pavement briefly, and much as I don't like to ride pavement too much, it is a lovely respite from that sufferfest that I just endured for a while back there. This is the really small town of Edgar. I don't think there's much of a town anymore. There's the old water tower, and here is the Edgar post office. Wow, this would have been a one-person operation. There's some really cool postcards there. And there's the old mailboxes. Look at the script on those boxes. That's an older script for sure, or font if you want to use that word. Oh wow, these are some pretty old postcards. It's probably hard to see with the glare. This looks like a photograph of things in operation with the trains. I have seen trains through here at that foundry just over the railway line there. I have seen rail cars parked there, etc. So it's still active. There we go, it's raining pretty good right now. Let's hope this road doesn't turn to mud. Pardon the rain spots on the camera. It does feel pretty good, this rain, I have to say. Most invigorating. This is another bloody road with too much sand on it. Ugh. Well, it's a good power workout, I'll say that. That's a turkey flying away. I just had the camera off. Bugger. Orange Springs. Welcome to Orange Springs, and this be the centre hub of the town. I've been here many times, and since I've been here, which is, well, boy, about 9 months ago, there's now a Dollar General. Bloody hell. And a gas station right there. Definitely needs some hydration. Bloody hell. Retapped. Can't beat around the bush here too long. I've had to get my light ready because I will be coming back in the dark. So I have to cut my route a little bit short, but I should have enough daylight to film this town. There's not too much here, I don't think, from memory. So anyway, time for a drinkies. That was the competing petrol station in town, but I understand it's out of business. Well, let's have a quick squeeze. We got Orange Springs Park. Yeah, there isn't much to see here. It's an interesting storefront. Not sure what it was, but... And there is a former house. All that remains is the chimney. I had a brief chat to one of the locals off camera, and I said, mate, is there like a city hall and whatnot? And he said, this is a small-ass town. His direct quote. Here we are in the back streets, and we've found something interesting. The James H. Townsend House. Right there. I'll have to look that up. There's a nice place for sale right there. Well, that local bloke I ran into earlier, he was right. This is a pretty small little town. I haven't seen any signs of municipalities, although there is the Orange Springs Civic Club right there. On the right is my favourite house within this little town. It's really neat. It's like stone and wood and interesting construction method. That pretty much concludes the tour of Orange Springs. Time to skedaddle. I have to get back to Hawthorne, and I'm probably going to be in the dark at some point. It's about 7:33 p.m. I have about 24 kilometres or 15 miles to ride. There is a very tough dirt road coming up. It is historically always washboarded to hell. So if you think you've seen bad corrugations of washboard, this is historically one of the worst roads I've ever ridden. And I've got about 10 kilometres of this ahead of me. Good times. I knew what I was getting myself into. I've ridden this road many times. This road is absolutely relentless. Oh wow. Still have another about 3 miles to ride, yikes. This is a sea of washboard and corrugation. There's no good line. I'm hauling ass trying to make it to the final dirt road before evening sets. Check out the nest up there. I think, yeah, those are bald eagles up there. Bloody headwind as well. Ugh. I've made it to the final road with about 4 kilometres of my route left to ride. plenty of washboard. Oh, but I wanted to thank you for tagging along. Hopefully you enjoyed this ride and video. There are plenty more to come. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Gravel Cyclist YouTube channel on riding corrugations. And don't forget to click the bell button to be notified of future videos as they appear on the channel. I'll see you in the next video.